Carl Jung, one of the most significant psychologists of the 20th century, introduced a groundbreaking concept known as the shadow, which plays a crucial role in understanding human personality. The shadow represents the darker, unconscious aspects of ourselves, the traits and emotions we deny, suppress, or remain unaware of throughout our lives. According to Jung, it's essential to confront and integrate the shadow to experience personal growth and achieve greater self-awareness. This journey, though intimidating, leads to a more profound understanding of who we are, helps heal emotional wounds, and ultimately allows us to live more authentically. In this exploration, we will delve into Carl Jung's shadow theory, helping you identify and confront these darker elements of your personality. Embracing these hidden traits can significantly enhance self-awareness, emotional well-being, and personal potential. Together, we'll explore the shadow within and learn how it influences our thoughts, behaviors, and interactions with others. Number 1. What is the shadow? The hidden aspects of your personality. The shadow is a psychological concept that refers to the part of our unconscious mind where we store the traits, desires, emotions, and impulses that we find unacceptable or undesirable. These traits often include feelings of anger, jealousy, selfishness, greed, and fear, but they can also be positive qualities that we have learned to suppress, such as creativity or assertiveness. The shadow begins to form in childhood as we learn what behaviors are deemed acceptable by our family, society, or culture. In trying to fit in and be accepted, we push certain aspects of ourselves into the shadow, hiding them not only from others, but from ourselves as well. However, these repressed traits don't disappear. They continue to exist in the background, influencing our thoughts, actions, and reactions in subtle, often unconscious ways. For example, someone who represses their anger may frequently find themselves in situations where they feel victimized or mistreated. Understanding the shadow helps us uncover the underlying motivations for many of our unexplained or irrational behaviors, allowing us to gain deeper insight into who we truly are. Number 2. How the shadow manifests in everyday life. Although the shadow operates unconsciously, it has a powerful influence on our daily lives. One way the shadow manifests is through our emotional reactions. You may notice moments when you feel an intense, irrational anger towards someone, or experience envy that seems out of proportion to the situation. Often, these intense feelings are signals that the shadow is at play. One of the primary ways the shadow surfaces is through projection, a defense mechanism where we attribute our own undesirable traits to others. For instance, a person who represses their competitiveness might accuse others of being overly aggressive or ambitious, while being unaware of their own unacknowledged drive for success. By projecting these disowned traits onto others, we avoid confronting them within ourselves. Recognizing these patterns in our behavior can be an eye-opening experience, helping us understand how the shadow shapes our perceptions and interactions with the world around us. Number 3. The importance of shadow work. Shadow work is the process of bringing the unconscious aspects of ourselves into conscious awareness. It involves acknowledging and accepting the traits and emotions we've buried deep within us. Contrary to popular belief, shadow work isn't about eliminating the shadow. It's about understanding it and integrating it into our conscious mind. Carl Jung believed that ignoring the shadow can lead to emotional imbalances, inner conflict, and a sense of fragmentation in our lives. Without confronting the shadow, it often controls us in subtle but destructive ways, driving behaviors like self-sabotage, impulsive decisions, or harmful relationships. However, through shadow work, we can reclaim these hidden parts of ourselves, transforming them from unconscious weaknesses into sources of strength. By facing our shadow, we become more self-aware, more emotionally balanced, and more authentic in our actions. Personal growth is not just about improving the positive aspects of ourselves, it also involves facing the darker parts and learning to work with them. Number 4. Signs your shadow is in control. If you notice repetitive negative patterns in your relationships, career, or self-perception, it could be a sign that your shadow is in control. One of the most telling signs of shadow dominance is self-sabotage, when you unconsciously undermine your own success or happiness. For example, you might repeatedly make choices that lead to unhealthy relationships or procrastinate on important tasks, even though you know better. These behaviors often stem from unacknowledged fears, desires, or unresolved emotions lurking in the shadow. Another common sign is being overly critical of others or yourself. When your shadow is in control, you may find yourself frequently judging or resenting those around you, often for traits that you refuse to acknowledge within yourself. This unconscious behavior can lead to toxic relationships, feelings of isolation, or dissatisfaction with life. By recognizing these patterns, you can begin to take control of your life, making conscious decisions that align with your true desires rather than being ruled by the hidden forces of your shadow. Number 5. Shadow projection. Seeing your darkness in others. Projection is one of the most common ways that the shadow influences our behavior. When we project, we unknowingly transfer our own undesirable traits onto others, accusing them of possessing qualities we refuse to accept in ourselves. For example, someone who denies their own laziness might be quick to criticize others for not working hard enough. This process of projection allows us to maintain a positive self-image while avoiding the uncomfortable truth of our own shortcomings. While projection might offer temporary relief from facing the shadow, it ultimately prevents us from gaining self-awareness. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of blaming others for our problems and perpetuates negative behaviors. By paying attention to the people or situations that trigger strong emotional reactions, we can identify which parts of our shadow we are projecting. The things we dislike or criticize most in others often reflect hidden aspects of ourselves. Recognizing this opens the door to deeper self-reflection, allowing us to reclaim the parts of our personality that we've long ignored or denied. Number 6, integrating the shadow, the key to personal growth. Integrating the shadow is not about striving for perfection, nor does it mean erasing the darker aspects of yourself. Instead, it is the process of accepting and embracing all parts of who you are, both the positive and the negative. We all carry traits we may not like, whether it's impatience, jealousy, or fear. Rather than pushing these traits aside or pretending they don't exist, shadow integration encourages us to acknowledge them, bringing them to the surface without judgment or shame. By doing so, you can achieve greater emotional balance and self-awareness. The energy once used to suppress these traits can now be directed toward personal development, creativity, and living a more fulfilling life. This isn't about erasing flaws, but transforming them into sources of growth. Once you understand and accept your shadow, you will feel less controlled by those hidden traits, and you'll be able to channel this newfound energy into meaningful endeavors. Integrating the shadow leads to a deeper understanding of yourself, helping you live more authentically and purposefully. Number 7, embracing your dark side without letting it take over. A common fear about shadow work is the belief that by acknowledging your dark side, you will be consumed by it. Some people fear that confronting their negative traits, such as anger or jealousy, will cause these traits to take over their lives. However, the goal of shadow work is not to indulge or glorify negative behaviors, but to become aware of them and gain control over how they influence you. Awareness is the key to mastery. When you bring these unconscious traits into your conscious awareness, you can make deliberate, mindful decisions about your actions rather than letting suppressed emotions drive your behavior. For instance, recognizing that you have feelings of jealousy doesn't mean you act on them. Instead, you understand where those feelings come from and choose a more constructive response. This is the essence of empowerment through shadow work. You become the one in control, responding to life's challenges with clarity and balance, instead of reacting impulsively out of repressed emotions. Number 8, the role of archetypes in shadow work. Carl Jung believed that archetypes, universal symbols and patterns of behavior shared across cultures and history, are essential to understanding the human psyche, including the shadow. Archetypes represent fundamental human experiences and roles, such as the hero, the mother, the victim, or the trickster. These archetypes contain both light and dark aspects, and the shadow often embodies the darker sides of these figures. For instance, the archetype of the trickster might symbolize creativity and playfulness, but it can also manifest in deceitfulness and manipulation. By examining which archetypes resonate with you, you can uncover aspects of your shadow, For example, if you identify strongly with the hero archetype, you might have hidden fears of failure or vulnerability that you suppress in favor of always presenting a strong, brave front. Shadow work involves exploring these darker aspects, bringing them into your awareness so you can better understand how they influence your behavior and decisions. Recognizing the roles that archetypes play in your life deepens your self-awareness and helps you begin the process of integrating the shadow. Number 9, the shadow in relationships, how it affects your interactions. The shadow plays a significant, often hidden role in our relationships. Many of the conflicts, misunderstandings, and emotional wounds that arise in our interactions with others can be traced back to unresolved shadow issues. We may project our insecurities, fears, or unresolved emotions onto our partners, friends, or family members without realizing it. For example, if you struggle with feelings of inadequacy, you may expect your partner to constantly reassure you, unknowingly putting pressure on the relationship. Shadow work in relationships involves becoming aware of how your hidden traits influence your behavior toward others. Do you find yourself blaming your partner for issues that might stem from your own insecurities? Do you tend to react defensively or become overly critical in certain situations? By recognizing these patterns, you take responsibility for your emotions and begin to approach your relationships with more authenticity and compassion. Shadow work helps you create healthier, more fulfilling connections with others by fostering deeper self-awareness and emotional maturity. Number 10, the collective shadow, society's dark side. Just as individuals have shadows, so do groups and societies. The collective shadow refers to the darker traits, behaviors, and emotions that entire cultures or communities suppress or deny. This can include prejudice, discrimination, greed, violence, and other harmful tendencies that we as a society prefer to ignore or justify. When these societal issues go unaddressed, they manifest as widespread conflict, inequality, or division, creating an unhealthy environment for individuals and communities alike. Carl Jung believed that confronting the collective shadow is just as important as personal shadow work. By recognizing the societal issues rooted in the collective unconscious, we can begin to address the deeper causes of prejudice, inequality, and conflict. This process involves acknowledging uncomfortable truths about human nature and our role in perpetuating social problems. By confronting the collective shadow, society can work toward healing and growth, fostering a more just and harmonious world. Just as individual shadow work brings personal transformation, addressing the collective shadow paves the way for societal change. Number 11, shadow work as a lifelong journey. Shadow work is not a one-time process. It's a lifelong journey of continuous self-discovery and growth. As we evolve and experience new challenges in life, new aspects of our shadow may come to light. We are always changing, and as a result, the shadow is constantly shifting as well. Each stage of life brings new opportunities to explore hidden parts of ourselves that we may not have been ready to confront in the past. The more you engage in shadow work, the more self-aware, emotionally balanced, and authentic you become. It's a process that deepens over time, allowing you to grow in ways you may not have imagined possible. Every time you face and integrate a new part of your shadow, you move closer to wholeness. Embracing your shadow is an ongoing practice, one that leads to greater self-acceptance, healing, and personal fulfillment as you continue to uncover the hidden depths of who you are. Carl Jung's shadow theory offers a profound path to self-awareness and transformation. By confronting the darker aspects of your personality, you unlock untapped potential, heal emotional wounds, and live a more genuine and fulfilled life. Shadow work is not about erasing the negative parts of yourself, but understanding and embracing them so you can lead a life that is more authentic and aligned with your true self. What aspects of your shadow have you discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the world of psychology.